Okay, so part two. I'm going to recap some things yesterday that I left out about my childhood. That's why I wanted to do this so I wouldn't forget things, and I did. So, um, one of the instances that I brought up yesterday, I brought up how my dad would take off my nails, right? But I didn't say how. You may have seen in another video that he used a razor blade, like a straight razor blade that you would put in a tool. So that's how he got the nail off. It wasn't like he was trimming my nail, it went around and through, like the whole thing. So that's how he would get that off. Another thing was that we had a rockwaller, and one day my dad came in the backyard. I was always playing with the dog. I did love the dog. He would growl at me sometimes, but I never was scared of the dog ever. But at one time, my dad, he's like, "Hey, I'm about to feed the dog. What I want you to do is go pet the dog while I'm feeding it." And I am literally not even in school yet. So I might have been 4. And I went to go feed the dog. He went to go feed the dog, and I went to go pet it. Like my dad, I'm being obedient, and it's in a doghouse, so it's not like out in the yard or out on the porch where I could easily run away. It was in a small, tiny, like play school house, but a little bit taller with a pitched roof. Um, so I went in the doghouse and pet the dog, and the dog turned on me, and he went to strike me. And my dad did get upset. He did hit the dog. And he turned his anger on the dog, and he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." But who does that? It's a 4-year-old versus a rockwaller, like a 100-pound rock, like giant rockwaller, like Doc's tail and everything. Like, so when I look back on that kind of stuff, I didn't even think anything of it at the time, because this is your dad. I'm just being obedient to what my dad's asking me to do. But when you look back at that, you're just like, why? Like, why even risk that, you know? So that was wild. Um, okay, I also left out the scary movie. So um, there was a house on Clover Lane we used to rent that we didn't stay there very long, but there was an instance my dad was watching a movie, and it was scary to me because I'm still not in school yet. I'm young, and it was about aliens and they're killing things, whatever. And I'm like, oh, and I'm like hiding from the movie in the living room in our house. And my dad is like, no, watch the movie. And I was like, no, I'm not watching this movie. I'm scared. And he said, you sit down right now and you watch this movie before I put toothpicks in your eyes and you can't close your eyes. And that was around the same time with the nails. So something was happening with my dad. That was another thing I want to tell you guys. Like, I do love my dad despite everything. He had a difficult life as well. His dad was from the Korean War, served, very strict, um, went through the Depression and whatnot. But there was a point where apparently they were poor. I don't know. I don't know if they were even poor. Maybe they weren't poor. But my dad had a rabbit, a pet rabbit. And my grandfather, Henry Ramsey, um, made him go out to the shed, this little shed they had in the backyard. And I've seen it, I've been there. And skin his own rabbit, kill it, and then they ate it for dinner. So I do have sympathy for my dad. My dad has been through some crazy stuff, and it makes sense to me now, in some aspect, why my dad is the way he is. So there's that. Not saying we should excuse my dad's behavior, but there is some abuse there on my grandfather's side as well. Um, and the other thing I wanted to talk about was, I had brought it up, but I didn't elaborate. So I was saying there's like, I felt like some evil, some demonic things were happening. Um, So at that house that my dad grew up in Dallas, Cedar Hill, we were spending the night. My mom and dad are in the bed. Me and Leah are on the floor, sleeping at the foot of the bed sideways. And I'm closest to where under the bed is. I could crawl under there if I wanted to. So one night, I was just getting intensely scared, like for no reason, scared of the dark kind of thing. And something, a demon, literally grabbed my arm and scratched me from under that bed. Like plain as day, I was not dreaming, I was not in sleep paralysis, wide awake, and something grabs me and scratches me. And I was just terrified to the point of I couldn't even move. I never even told my parents. I didn't even want to talk about it. I just that was terrifying. Other instances, especially during my dad's really heavy drug use, I was held down in the new house, and I felt the pressure of him or it holding me down. And there was a black figure, because it was like I could turn my head and I could see something behind me black. You couldn't see a face or anything, just all black. And it was like, don't worry, I'm just here to scare you. Like literally talked to me and told me that that's what it was there to do. And that one I was in sleep paralysis, because I do remember waking up immediately after, and I'm hearing things in the sleep paralysis that when I woke up to those noises. So it was like it just happened and I snapped awake. There would be eyes that would watch me. I felt like there was eyes watching me, and I would be so terrified. I would run to my sister's room and try to sleep in her bed with her, or I would drag a mattress into my parents' room and sleep in there. But even when I went to my parents' room, there they were in the corner. So there wasn't much relief from whatever this was, from the I guess demonic aspect, these demons coming to scare me and upset me. And as a Jehovah's Witness kid, we did talk about that, like as we got older, when we would have sleepovers with our Jehovah's Witness friends. We would talk about, our ghostly experiences, our demonic experiences. There was one Becky had brought out in her house where, and they played Dungeons and Dragons. Well, no, they didn't really play with Dungeons and Dragons, but like their older sister and her husband did, and they were over there, and so they felt like that contributed to it. Or I remember them saying that the song Ice Ice Baby, them listening to that song contributed to it, because they thought it was about drugs, which I don't know, maybe it is, I have no idea. But this demon was like crawling under the sheets and was trying to grab their legs and pull them. So anyway, we talk about our experiences, things knocking on the window. Like Jehovah's Witness kids, they do have their little demon stories, because there is a demonic aspect to this religion for sure. There's that's a whole nother subject. Deciphering worship, W-A-R, worship, on YouTube does a really good video on the demons that are drawn on the memorial invitations or the Watchtower Wake magazines. Also the songbook. When he'll put them up to a mirror for you and show the split of the images, and it's like a demon dog or whatever. So anyway, there is a demonic aspect to that. So I did want to talk about that. Also, my mom graduating from nursing school. Okay, so when I was little, my mom graduated from nursing school, and it was in a church. And she was mortified because, we're not allowed to go into a church whatsoever. It is literally like walking in to the beast system from the Revelation book, with the lady with the wine glass and the red, she's riding the red beast or whatever. That is literally what we are taught Christians are. Like that, like if you walk in a Christian building, you're allowing yourself to be um, possessed, influenced by Babylon. So I do remember figuring out what a Christian was later. And I was probably like 8 years old, 7 or 8. And I'm sitting in this church scared to death. Like, when are we going to get this over? We got to get out of Babylon. So I do remember that. Okay, so I'm actively witnessing at this point. I'm 12 years old. I'm actively witnessing. This is going to be like 12 to 31 if I can get it out in time. I became really good at going door to door because you got to remember, I'm not in school. I'm not doing schoolwork, and I'm trying to get away from my dad. So I become really good at what I do because I want to be successful at it, and I'm trying to get away from the house, right? So I come up with a really short presentation. So it's called a presentation, and they're the door holder or the householder. Yeah, they're the householder. And you're giving your presentation to the householder. That's how they teach you. Okay. I'm very good at this point at reading the room because coming from the background that I have, you pick up on cues and how people feel, and you're trying to not upset people. So I became very good at that, very good at reading the householder, like how they're feeling. As soon as I open the door, like, I know if you're upset, I know if you're annoyed, all that. So I come to figure out that most people don't want to talk to us. That's like from the gate. When I'm knocking on a door, I'm like, oh, man, I want to be good at this, but I also don't want to piss off who's ever on the other side of that door, because we're leaving at 9:15 in the morning and we're getting out there early. So I come up with like a 20-second conversation to let you know right away that I'm about to leave you alone. Okay, Laura's about to get out of here, but I want to say something first, and I'm going to take just 20 seconds. So it would go something like this. Let's see if we can do this again. Hi, my name is Laura. I know you weren't expecting anyone today. I just want to take a brief moment to just share with you a quick scripture from Revelation 21:3-4. And I'll read the scripture. There'll be no more tears, yada yada. All of this will have passed away. This is about God's kingdom, and this kingdom is going to come to the earth. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to give you this brochure that talks about God's kingdom and just have you read it. And I'd like to come back later and see what you thought about it. And they would be like, oh, thank God she's leaving. Yes, I'll take the brochure if that means you're leaving. And I'd be like, okay, I got a return visit. Let's write it down. So as I'm leaving your house, I'm like, blonde woman with 3 kids on her leg, 1 dog, house number, she was home at this time. Okay, I need to come this time, next time. Like, we are detailed about those who take the literature. So just be aware of that. You could also tell a Jehovah's Witness that you don't ever want them to come to your door and to put you down as a do not call. And I think 2 years you will be considered a do not call, and then they'll try again after 2 years. That's also good to know for those of you who don't want Jehovah's Witnesses coming to your door. So anyway, I would get lots of calls. I even got a Bible study at like 12 years old. I was teaching this one lady. Now that I look back, maybe she was trying to teach me because she felt bad for me. She was a teacher. I was not consistent on going back to her because I was so nervous, because I felt like, how am I teaching you? I'm 12 years old. You're a 40-year-old woman. Is there any way possible? So I let that fall through the cracks, to be honest. I did not pursue that. But I did like my return visits because I could just do the same thing I did to you the first time. I could give you another 20-second spill and maybe ask you a question. And then I got you on the hook again, and I'm going to put you down. So I would have like 20 return visits, Anyway. I was very good at the Theocratic Ministry School. They would have tests. I don't know if y'all remember these tests. I don't know if they still do the test, but back in my day, on Thursday night, ever so often, like every 6 weeks or every 2 months or every 3 months, I'm not real sure how long, there would be a test in the theocratic ministry school, which it would give you, like, you would see the questions, and then it would tell you where to study underneath the question. So I became really good at that because I loved school and I wanted to be good. It was fun to actually learn something. I also got on stage at a very young age. I think I started the theocratic ministry school like 6 or 7. And we have, the little white cards, the little cue cards. And I would write out all of my presentation with the scriptures, and then make a copy for my householder who was in the Kingdom Hall. And we would literally have to meet up, and it was a skit. And we would sit there and memorize the whole skit so it looked very natural. And we would try to come up with a new way of, like, going on the stage. Like, instead of just walking up there and sitting like most people do, we started doing like fun things, like pretending to knock on the door at the end of the stage, and or someone's on a bus and we'll put 2 chairs next to each other because we wanted to be unique. Oh, that was a good idea. Did y'all see them? They're like, they're on the bus. That was something that's required. So we had to do that. Okay, I had my first elders meeting for smoking a cigarette. Let me tell you, thought I was going to die. Thought I was going to be disfellowshipped. I'm bawling. I'm crying. Me and my girlfriends. Should I name them? I will. They'll be fine with it. They probably won't even watch the video. So Brandy and Megan, my good friends, me and Brandy took off one day to go smoke a cigarette. And we're just smoking it going down the street, no big, well, it's a big deal. We were young, but it wasn't like we set a house on fire or something. And I tell Brandy, excuse me, that I can't hold it in anymore. Jehovah's mad at me. I'm gonna die at Armageddon because I didn't tell the elders that I smoked a cigarette. If Armageddon comes tomorrow, then I'm dead. I have to get this off my chest because, they always tell you Jehovah's coming, Jehovah's coming. Armageddon's around the corner. If you're not one of us, you're dead, at Armageddon. And we're going to go live in your house. That's another thing, by the way. As we're out in field service, we're looking at your house like, this might be the one that I choose when you're dead. And I'm going to move all your stuff out and take over your home. That's not a joke, y'all. Like, we used to talk about this all the time, especially in really nice neighborhoods. I want that house at Armageddon. It's just awful. Like, we're not even sorry for the people that are going to die. We want your stuff. Like, total covet. Like, horrible. So anyway, I go to the elders. I told Brandy I'm going to tell. She's kind of got a cool dad who isn't really into it anymore. And he told her, and this got me thinking, as a teenager, he told her that when she turns 18, he's going to tell her the truth. And I wanted to know what that was. I never found out from her. I should probably call her. That would be a cool conversation. He's passed. But anyway, so she kind of had a cool dad, and her mom was the one in it, and she was kind of in it. Like her oldest, Brandy's oldest sister was really in it, was married to an elder. They were very strong. But, they kind of watched rated R movies. You know who you could get away with some stuff and who you couldn't? Well, Brandy's mom would let us watch, movies we probably shouldn't have as Jehovah's Witness kids. So anyway, Brandy's, I don't even know her reaction to me saying I'm going to go to the elders, but I do. And it was after a Thursday night meeting. I told the elders I need to talk to them. It was Gary. I can't think of his last name. Anyway, he starts laughing, like hysterically, probably because I'm super serious and I'm like, I think I'm in an execution chair and I'm, 12 years old or so. And I had gotten baptized, so now I can be disfellowshipped. It's a big deal. And he and the other elder started laughing so hard, and I was instantly offended. I was instantly offended because I had done something wrong. I had sinned and I needed to be punished. Like, that was my mentality. Like, y'all, this is serious. This is not funny. And I'm just glad that they let me off. They were just like, don't do it again, whatever. But I can't believe how offended I was that I didn't get punished. And I think that had something to do. I kind of was sassy about it and was like, well, they don't even care I smoke a cigarette, whatever. I might as well just go ahead and do whatever. I was kind of rude about it. That's so whatever. But the elders meeting usually will consist of 3 elders. Since I told them that I just wanted to talk to them, it was only 2. But had it been like a true elders meeting, it would have been 3 chairs, 3 elders. And it's a judicial committee, so it's like a church court. And they're in front of you, and you're sitting like 2 feet away, and they've got their notebooks taking notes and everything. So, okay. Let's see. Circuit Assembly hookups. Oh, wow. So you're only allowed to marry a Jehovah's Witness. And hookups was probably not the right word there, but by hookup, I mean like you're catching a boyfriend, okay? You're not allowed to catch a boyfriend at school. You're not allowed to catch a boyfriend at work, but the Circuit Assembly, it's on, okay? You're dressing up. You're putting all that makeup on. You're trying to make your dress a little shorter and make sure your legs look good, and you got new pantyhose and, all that stuff. So your dating field is your circuit. It's not your district. It is your circuit. You know all of these people. So if I'm in Longview, I'm looking at Marshall, Henderson, Kilgore, Tyler, especially Tyler. There's a lot of congregations. This is my circuit, and I can marry anyone in this circuit. So it's like the dating scene. You get up and you walk around and you're checking everybody out. If somebody looks at you for a long time, you're like, I need to get his number, And back then, actually, it wasn't get your number. I'm sorry. We didn't have cell phones till I was 21. So it was, I'm going to get his address, and we're going to write a letter, and we're going to put little scriptures in the letter in case mama sees it or daddy. And we're going to write love letters to each other. I used to have a box of love letters. So from my only boyfriend at the time, and I ended up marrying the first boyfriend I ever got. So, I have those letters. First marriage. Okay, so I get married late 16, early 17 years old. My parents have to sign for me to get married. Looking back on that, probably wasn't the best idea, but it's what happened, and that's how it worked out for me. So, I got 3 kids from it, and it was good at first, but he ended up, it's weird, like, they don't drink or do things like that when you first get married, but then it comes out later. So, like, my dad was an alcoholic, and it took about 2 or 3 years to see that he was going to be that way. And it was all night and working on cars and never home, or if you're home, you're outside until 2 a.m. with your other JW guy friends that work, or your family members. So anyway, that didn't work out. It was pretty bad. So here's what happened. And these are all Jehovah's Witness people. Okay, so the night before our 1-year wedding anniversary, he hooks up with my best friend from Marshall, and I catch them. Like, we're at their house. That was crazy. You're only allowed to have JW friends. I'm barely 18 at this point. I'm a teenager. and we're hanging out with other teenagers. Everybody in our group got married in their teens because it's better to marry than to fornicate. So I'm at their house, we're watching football, and I'm just like, wait, Jason disappeared. And you know what? What's her face did too? Rosa. I'm gonna go and call her out. And and then it's just me and Ryan in the living room, and I'm like, where did they go? You know, it's just four of us, and it's a one-bedroom apartment. And anyway, so I walk in their room, and there they are, messing around. Um, Totally broke me because my dad didn't care for me, but I thought I could get everything that I didn't get from my dad from my husband. So I was that overbearing wife that, like, if I'm not happy, I'm gonna make sure you're not happy, and I need you to give me all the attention and feeling that I have been missing out on because I didn't get that from my dad. So um, it wasn't the best marriage at all, but 1 year anniversary, like literally, come on, like the night before our 1 year anniversary. And then my mom had a Bible study who was young. She was like 14, 16. And we had moved to White Oak, and I had gotten a car, and I was older, so I was 18 or 19 at this point. And my husband's like 21. He's a little older. And we're at a new duplex in White Oak. And I have this cute little red Nissan Sentra. I'm real proud of it. But all of my friends, since my best friend had done that with my husband at the time, I just started hanging out with younger people because I kind of identified with younger people more. I didn't really get much of a childhood. And so I invited a bunch of girls over, and one of them was my mom's Bible study. And I was like, I'm going to let you guys drive my car. You're almost 16. You know, y'all need to learn. Or then maybe they were 16 and didn't get to drive a lot, and they needed someone to be in the car with them. Back then, you didn't have to have like just one person. You could have as many people as you wanted. So I'm thinking I'm doing them a favor. We're going to go drive the new Nissan, and we're going to spend the night at my house. And I catch him with, I notice another one of my friend girls are missing, and they're in there with him. So I say all this because when you're isolated so much that you're only allowed to be around this amount of people and you can't talk to anyone else, like, people get curious, people get bored, people want to have relationships with other people, and you're just so confined all the time. It's not right what he did, but I understand, you know, the compression of it all. So after that incident, I didn't do good after that. I left him, and he left the house, and I started dating someone else, which was not good because this is where Laura becomes the monster that I never wanted to be. I start doing things like my dad, unfortunately. Met a guy from Chicago that was down here working and going to college to be a watch repair person. I don't know. And he was Greek, and I thought he was cute and all this stuff. And anyway, but he was into drugs. And, you know, I'd stayed away from that for a long time. But because he was cute and I wanted to hang out with him, of course, I'm going to try drugs. So that was not good. I ended up going into rehab because my family got super concerned. It was the first time I ever used drugs, and so they're thinking, you know, we're going to nip this in the bud. And there were some parts of it that got dangerous, like selling and buying, and you know, not just your normal drugs. This was like acid and buying sheets of it. I got really sick one time because I didn't realize how it was supposed to be handled. So I'm just touching the whole page, you know, and I did get put in the hospital. Very, very sick. So I went to rehab out of state to try to hide it. And I got disfellowshipped. I think Jason did too. Yeah, we're both disfellowshipped. We had an elders meeting, and I just figured, you know what, I'm going to get it all out on the table. So it wasn't just disfellowshipping for the drugs and the boyfriend and the whatever. It was also being disfellowshipped for, we were together before we got married. A lot of Jehovah's Witnesses are together before they get married, especially if you're a teenager and you just don't say anything, and then you get married and you're like, he's my husband now. But I'm that super scrupulous person that was upset about a cigarette, so I'm going to tell the elders everything. I'm going to wipe the whole slate clean. If I'm getting disfellowshipped, I might as well clear the entire air. So we did that. And I was really thinking that I was going to not be disfellowshipped because I came to them. Usually that makes a difference. And it took 3 hours for them to make a decision. And that is not an exaggeration whatsoever. So we went in there and we talked, right? And then after you tell it all and they write it all down, they talk about it and decide. And it takes 20 to 30 minutes. I know this because my dad had been disfellowshipped literally probably 8 times. It's no exaggeration. They finally just ended up giving up in the end, and whatever. That's another story I'll tell you in a minute. So I'm sitting outside in at Eastman Congregation, and it's Brother Marsh, Brother Armstrong, and Brother Bullard. 2 of them are no longer with us. May they rest in peace, and I pray God has mercy on their soul. It took 3 hours for them to open that door back up and tell me to come in. They made a decision. And I found out later that Randy Marsh was fighting for me because he had been at our wedding. He knew Jason. Randy Marsh was like, no, she's sorry. She came to us. She wanted to do the right thing. She's telling the truth now. She didn't tell anyone else. No one else knew. And Brother Bullard did not like me at all. And this comes up later in another disfellowshipping, where he yells and screams at me. So anyway, I got disfellowshipped. I went straight to my mom's house and broke down. I was like, Mom, this isn't how it's supposed to go. I was honest. I told the truth. I came to them. I wanted to be different. I wanted to change. I would love Jehovah. Why did I get disfellowshipped? She goes, appeal. And I'm like, I can't go through that again. I can't sit there and have them ask me if we used a condom or if we didn't use a condom. Did I have an orgasm? Did I not? Did I enjoy it? All this other stuff. It's so graphic and it's so horrific. And you know me, I don't have much life experience. I only went to the 6th grade. So I'm sitting there in front of 3 men just I can't even talk about this with you guys. I've never done this in my life. I've been married with one husband and one boyfriend. I have no experience with life. And now I'm telling 3 men if I put a condom on my husband, it's ridiculous. So that was absolutely devastating. She was crying. I was crying. We knew what this meant. And here I am following in the footsteps of my father, trying drugs, getting disfellowshipped, and that was not good. So we're at the 33-minute mark. I think I'm going to stop there for right now. I'm going to put a marker where I left off, because after I got out of rehab, I found out I was pregnant. So I'm going to stop there with that story, and tell you guys next time, how did my wedding shower go as a disfellowshipped person, and how that ended up working out with my daughter being RH negative, and all those other concerns. So part 3, hopefully tomorrow. Love y'all. Bye.